Life, if lived long enough and consciously enough, introduces you to every kind of person, some who pour life into you, and others who slowly poison your peace. I've learned, through wounds and wisdom, that one of the greatest acts of self-preservation is identifying the toxic influence before it eats away at your character, energy, and sense of direction. The Stoics taught not only about inner control, but also about the importance of practical wisdom. And part of wisdom is recognizing when someone is silently drowning your soul in chaos. Let me walk you through 6 clear signs that you are dealing with a toxic person, lessons earned through bruises, sharpened through Stoic thought. 1. They constantly create drama, and peace feels unnatural around them. When I reflect on Marcus Aurelius' words, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. Retreat to consult your soul often," I realize how deeply toxic people disrupt that internal peace. These individuals are addicted to chaos. They thrive in conflict, and they can make you feel like every interaction is an emotional storm. I remember being close to someone whose life was always in flames, problems, enemies, fights, and somehow I was always being dragged into it. Even when things were calm, they would stir something up. You start bracing for the next argument, the next guilt trip, or the next manipulative episode. A Stoic seeks peace, not by avoiding people, but by guarding their inner fortress. And when someone keeps planting landmines around you, it's time to step back, not in hatred, but in self-respect. 2. They make you doubt yourself constantly. Seneca once said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." Toxic people invert this wisdom. They belittle your confidence subtly. At first, it might seem like concern. "Are you sure you can do that?" But it quickly turns into persistent doubt. I had someone close once who constantly second-guessed my dreams, my choices, and even my personality. Eventually, I began to hear their voice louder than my own. A Stoic understands the importance of self-possession. The toxic person, knowingly or not, attempts to hijack your self-belief. Real companions will challenge you, yes, but not erode you. 3. They guilt you into doing things their way. Guilt is a weapon in the hands of the manipulative. I remember how Epictetus advised, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." Toxic people use guilt like a sculptor uses a chisel. They slowly shape your behavior to fit their desires. They'll say things like, "After everything I've done for you," or "You don't care about me anymore," when you start asserting your boundaries. I've felt that guilt, the tightness in your chest when you're made to feel like saying no is a betrayal. But a Stoic knows that living to appease others leads to slavery. Toxic people will test the edges of your kindness until they find no boundaries. And once they find that, they exploit it. 4. They speak ill of others, and probably of you too. One of the hardest truths I learned came from simple observation. If someone always tears others down when you're together, chances are they're tearing you down when you're absent. Seneca warned, "Avoid inquisitive persons who seek to know the faults of others." The Stoics knew that gossip isn't just dishonorable, it's a sign of inner rot. I remember a colleague who always had something negative to say about everyone. At first, I felt like I was being trusted with secrets. Later, I realized I was simply the next ear in line. Eventually, the knife finds your back too. A toxic person feeds on reputation, status, and drama. The Stoic, by contrast, seeks simplicity, clarity, and truth. 5. They make everything about them. Self-centered people are emotionally exhausting. Toxic people believe the world orbits their moods, their pain, their desires. Even when you're struggling, they find a way to bring the attention back to themselves. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, "You are a part of the whole." Do not forget your role as a rational being. But toxic people have forgotten their role. They see themselves as the center of all narratives. I once shared something deeply personal, a loss I had experienced, but somehow the conversation turned around within minutes. It was back to their problems. My grief became their platform. It was like emotional hijacking. You'll notice how often you feel unheard, invisible, or like your experiences are being compared and minimized. In a healthy bond, there is mutual space. With a toxic person, there's only their spotlight. 6. They drain you more than they inspire you. This one is simple but powerful. After time with someone, ask yourself, do I feel nourished or depleted? A Stoic life is not just about enduring suffering, it's about consciously choosing what deserves your energy. Seneca taught that life is long if you know how to use it. Time and energy spent in emotionally toxic environments shortens the quality of your life. I've left conversations feeling like I'd run a mental marathon, emotionally drained, confused and fogged. That's not love. That's not friendship. That's not family. That's emotional toxicity. Healthy relationships are not always easy, but they are never draining by design. A toxic person will leave you second-guessing your worth, questioning your instincts, and forgetting your strength. The Stoics were not naive. They knew human nature in its rawest form. They understood that while we can't change others, we must fiercely protect our inner world. I have loved toxic people. I have been loyal to them. I have tolerated them longer than I should have. But eventually, I learned what the Seneca tried to teach all along when he said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." You owe it to yourself to draw the line, not in anger, but in wisdom. Let them go with grace, not bitterness. Not everyone can journey with you, and that's not cruelty. It's clarity. Guard your peace like a sacred temple. Not everyone deserves entrance.